No, Chrissy sighed. It's Mr. Rogers. My boss's secretary is out sick, so I'm filling in for her this week. And he dictates. Fast. He dictates fast. Jack asked, That doesn't sound so bad. It's not the dictation, Chrissy said, her voice dropping. The girls in the office call him Christopher Columbus because he's always exploring. Jack stopped flipping. Exploring? His hands. Chrissy clarified. He thinks my desk is a new world and he's looking for a shortcut to the Indies. Jana slammed her palm on the table. Chrissy, that's terrible. You have to complain to his boss. He is the boss. Chrissy whimpered. The stress of avoiding Mr. Rogers' expeditions was manifesting in midnight strolls. Stanley Roper had even caught her wandering the street in her nightie at 3:00 a.m. Tell her to get dressed before she goes to bed if she wants to walk in her sleep. Roper had grumbled to Jana. This is a decent neighborhood. I don't want the property values dropping because of a sleepwalking parade. That night, Jack and Jana decided to stay up and keep watch. They sat in the dark living room, drinking tea and listening for the sound of Chrissy's door. Around 2:00 a.m., the door creaked. Chrissy emerged, her eyes wide but glazed, her arms reaching out as if she were feeling for a typewriter. Aha, Jack whispered. The traveler begins her journey. Chrissy didn't go for the front door. Instead, she wandered into the kitchen and started miming shorthand in the air. Yes, Mr. Rogers. Comma. I have the memo. Period. She's working in her sleep. Jana whispered, her heart breaking for her friend. Watch out for the explorer, Chrissy. Jack called out softly. Chrissy's hands suddenly batted at the air as if shooing away a fly. No, Mr. Rogers. That's not a stapler. That's my knee. Jack and Jana exchanged a look. They had to help her. I've got an idea, Jack said. He stood up and grabbed a large, heavy book from the shelf. He walked over to Chrissy and gently placed it on her head. If she can balance this, maybe she'll stay put. Surprisingly, Chrissy accepted the book. She stood perfectly still, a sleeping statue of poise. The memo is ready, she murmured. Let's get her back to bed, Jana said. They guided her, book and all, back to her room. As they tucked her in, the book slid off and landed on Jack's toe. Ow! He yelped, muffled. Jana hissed. The next day, Jack decided to take matters into his own hands. He went down to Chrissy's office, pretending to be her very large, very jealous brother from the Midwest. Is Mr. Rogers in? Jack asked the receptionist, trying to sound like he ate nails for breakfast. He's in a meeting, she said, eyeing Jack's Hawaiian shirt doubtfully. Well, you tell him that if his hands wander anywhere near my sister's desk again, they might find themselves detached and mailed back to the old world, Jack growled. He didn't stay for a reply, but when Chrissy came home that night, she was beaming. Mr. Rogers was so polite today, she said. He spent the whole afternoon with his hands in his pockets. He said he had a sudden fear of sharks in the office. The Pacific breeze Jack winked at Jonna. It's full of surprises. Chapter 13, The Spicy Page Turner. Life in Apartment 201 wasn't just about crisis management. It was about the small, daily battles for entertainment. Jonna had recently finished a novel that was making the rounds in Santa Monica's spicy book about a French count and a very adventurous governess. I'm no fool, Helen Roper said, sitting on the orange sofa while Stanley was out fixing a drainpipe. I went straight for the pages with the corners turned down. I thought you'd like it, Mrs. Roper. Jonna smiled. Like it? Helen fanned herself. I read it last night in bed. It was like reading a gourmet menu at a health farm. All the descriptions of the appetizers. But Stanley was asleep before I even got to the first course. That's a shame, Jonna said sympathetically. It's your anniversary tomorrow, isn't it? 20 years, Helen sighed. And what do I have to look forward to? A show. Beretta followed by Charlie's Angels. That's our social calendar. Stanley won't even remember it's a special day unless the TV guide tells him. Oh, I envy you young people, Helen continued, looking at Jack, who was busy polishing his shoes. The life you lead, the boyfriends, the excitement. There's nothing to it, Mrs. Roper. Jack said, you just have to be flat broke and have a landlord who peeps in your windows. I do not peep, Stanley shouted from the balcony, having overheard. I was checking the weather at 3 o'clock in the morning. With binoculars, Stanley, Helen called back. They helped me see the stars, Helen. The stars over apartment 201 are particularly bright. Stanley stomped into the room, looking disgruntled. That stupid doctor. He told me I was in perfect shape. What a waste of $40. I go for a checkup. I want to find something wrong. Otherwise, I'm just paying for a clean bill of health. There's plenty wrong with you, Stanley, Helen muttered, not looking up from the book. Your imagination, for one. Ellen, Stanley addressed Jonna. He never could get her name right. Tell your roommate Tinkerbell over there to warn Chrissy. I saw her walking in the street in her nightie again. Tell her to get a robe, a thick one, made of lead. She's just stressed, Mr. Roper, Johnny explained. I'm the one who's stressed, Stanley cried. I have to stay up all night making sure no one breaks in while the tenants are wandering around half naked. My tooth is killing me, and my wife is reading books about French counts. It's a madhouse. Go see the dentist, Stanley, Helen said, before your toothache gives me a pain. I'll go when I'm ready, Stanley huffed, heading for the door. And not a minute before, unless he gives me a lollipop. Chapter 14, The Financial Aid Fiasco. The week of the missing rent had left Jack in a state of financial ruin. Even though the rent was technically paid, his meager savings were gone, and he still had tuition fees looming for the cooking school. I have an idea, Jack said, pacing the living room. The school has a financial aid department. They give loans to students in need. Well, you definitely qualify, Jonna said. You're a hardship case if I ever saw one. You're wearing a bathing suit as underwear because you can't afford a laundromat. These